Yes, yes. Obviously, a much happier match review this week, boys, with a very, very hard-earned 3-0 win over Coomera. I mean, this match comes with seven players out through injury, one suspension, and also I think I can confidently say Benji was not 100% due to illness, and we had Isaac coming back after a period of time on the sidelines. So everything stacked up against us, resulted in us reshuffling the side. But honestly, I could not be prouder of all of you boys and the way you fought away, and came away with the chocolates against Coomera. It's a very important fixture in the context of the ladder. If we have a look at the ladder, we can see that sits us in third position, in touch with top spot, who are Sanford on 26. So we're 2 points adrift of them. We are, excuse me, 1 point adrift of Lions, with a 2 point gap to North Lakes. And importantly, we are 5 points clear, 5 points clear of fifth place, trying to keep up with us. So everything's looking pretty good, boys. Well done on all that hard work. Uh, the significant features are possession 45 to 55. This very much plays into the way we approach the game, where our approach to the game was to press them hard, trap them in their own half, and preferably win transitional opportunities to score goals. There weren't too many. Look, they really didn't get into our half a great deal. They did create some really good opportunities. You can see that they created six attempts, and got six shots away. There were probably even more, I thought, that were blocked. So I'm unsure of how the VO stats processed all of that. We, on the other hand, managed to generate 15 attempts, 12 shots. So we doubled the amount of shots they produced. A lot of that was our pressing game. So that's going well. There's still room for improvement. That will be a significant focus of today's review, and we will keep working on it. Um, Happily, today is coach's choice as far as training goes, although I'm not entirely convinced that there will be a lot of training if the forecast is to be believed. If we go down the rest of it, we'll see corners 3-1 to us. Free kicks, look, 15 to 10. I think that's a reflection of us muscling up. And it's so pretty much reversed. If you see free kicks and fouls, 15-10. So basically, we beat them up a tiny bit. We stood our ground, which was really important for us, and really, really good to see. 35 throws to them as opposed to 23 to us. I thought that was just a reflection of the possession, and also our defenders being more than happy to put the ball into next week when it came to defending. Goals, obviously, to Mayal, breaking the deadlock in the 12th minute and getting us underway, which was very important, with a really good goal, dribbling in from the baseline. I have to mention a save from Mick early in the first half, where he really put his body on the line, kept us in it. That was a fantastic effort. Obviously, Benji scoring off some weird back heel octopus attack from a corner. And then Max with a well-deserved goal when we moved him forward into the middle of the pitch later in the game, just to give us a little bit more starch in the middle there. So fantastic result. If we go to the match preparation, so we're reviewing what our goals were. So obviously our goal was, can we create at least one goal scoring opportunity every time we enter the final third? I think this is actually a really, really worthwhile headspace, because sometimes when we get into the attacking third, we're a little bit listless. We're a little bit all over the shop. Um, Whereas if we aim that if we get the ball there, let's try to create a chance. That becomes our focus. If we've got a plan, then we'll work towards that plan. If we don't have a plan, well, we're just kind of making it up as we go. I felt we did that. I felt the fact that we generated those chances, we scored three clear goals. I thought we did particularly well and I've got some footage to support that. Challenge, the challenges, well, sorry. The goal of the day was create, deliver, convert. That's been the focus of the week. So I thought we did that quite well. I was more than happy with that. Challenge one was, can we finish early whenever the opportunity exists? I thought we took important steps towards that and taking the shot earlier rather than trying to overplay it or give it to someone else to try to score. Challenge two, can we dominate territory through an aggressive press, creating transitional moments? So there's going to be two focuses from today. One, I'll be focusing on a couple of examples of where we created a chance in build-up. I'm going to be talking a lot about our press, and then I'm going to be going to where we built up, because we didn't stretch them. We didn't do the stretch, create, break as much as what we could have done, which meant we ended up trying to go through them through congested areas, which was a little bit, not necessarily what I really wanted to what I was wanting to achieve from the day. So starting off, just add a couple of little presses. Da, 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 da. So this is 8 minutes 33 in. So, well, actually, no, I'm not going to do this. This is the press. So I don't want to start on the press. So we'll go forward a little bit, 10:27. Okay, so here we are. Isaac driving into the third. Now plays the ball to Riley's feet. Really good. We can see. Let's break it down and see where we are. We've got the defenders. Noticeably, Will has got goal side. Oops, hang on. Will has got goal side of his player. Centre back, one of the centre backs is out of position. Three of them are gaggled up here. So Isaac's done particularly well. They do this a lot, these boys. If you look at the way they play, they do a great job of creating these little almost rondo scenarios. The positive for that, though, is if we can get the ball out, then we can break into space. And that's what Isaac's managed to do. And we're in a position where we have various attacking opportunities, all moving towards goal. So we have runs where Will can make a run into goal, Benji can make a run to the middle. I think that is Isaac. No, that's not Isaac. I think that might, I don't know who that is. Um, but we'll go to full size. So Riley gets the ball. Now he identifies the run out on the right hand side, which I think is Mael. Actually, he's drifted out to the right as he's prone to doing. Now this is a really good opportunity. Really good opportunity. So we've got into the final third and we've generated a really good opportunity. In this situation, this is Mael's left foot. My expectation, he'd be curling it around the goalkeeper into that part of the net. So it's a really good opportunity to create, especially this early in the game. We're 2:26 in. Unfortunately, dribbles back in and dribbles into traffic. So in this instance, just take the shot. Just keep it low, challenge the goalkeeper, because we've got players coming through for the crumbs if we can force a save. So we'll now move on to the next examples of these, which is 12:38. So we'll go back a little bit before that. So 12:36. Okay, so now Isaac's on the ball. He's got the ball, dribbles it, keeps it alive, really good. Gets it to Griggsy. Griggsy identifies, and this is what they do. I was saying, and a lot of teams do this because it's a lot of what the modern training tries to do is just get bodies in front of the ball, which is great because it makes it really hard to kick the ball through. But the problem you've got is in this space here, this wedge, you've got two, four, six, eight. You've got most of their team. They've only actually got two players who are not in that space, and we've got them well marked by three defenders. Okay, so this is a really good opportunity for us to play around. As we see, Ollie gets the ball, plays it out to Riley. Will gives a space. Riley, now this kind of goes a little bit astray. We probably needed a quicker decision there. But we were trying to play towards creating an opportunity. Riley's still in there. We win the ball, and when we lose the ball, and then we lose the ball again. So I suppose what I've illustrated is we're still working on this creating a clear cut opportunity. If we wind that back, so if we wind that back to where we start, what would probably have been what would have been a better option goes there. Now, what would have been a better option in this situation would be for Will Will to position yourself a bit wider. Riley, Ollie feels it. Mayal gets involved again, but the ball goes to Riley. Now move it, pass it quickly. We did too much, even in this situation, even if we can manage to dribble around the player, they've still got players in front who can come in. So by the time you dribble around him, um, by the time you dribble around him, they've got three defenders who can come in. So the better option, I think, in that instance is to find a passing option. Either go to Will. You probably can't pass through. Mayal's out, so go to Will and stretch him. So stretch and then create, deliver, convert. Okay. So we'll now go back. We'll now go back to our second objective. Can we dominate territory with an aggressive press, creating transitional moments? Um, so this is where we start on number two. This is where we'll go to 8:33. Now, we need to be calculated when we use this press, especially if we play against teams that are genuinely good on the ball. And Lions is a team which do have a lot of boys who are quite technical and quite good on the ball. They just play badly as a team, in my opinion. Um, okay, so here we are. So the way this needs to be working, what hasn't happened. Now, Mael was at the 10. So what we need to have happening, Benji needs to be here because that's his player. Isaac needs to be higher because your player is throw. The 10, in this case, Mael needs to be marking this centre back. The left wing is there. The 8 steps up. So the 8 comes into where Mael is. Okay, that's the way we want to be setting up in our shape. Now, this is early on, 19 seconds in. We are still getting our head around this press. Okay. And there were times when we did it well, and there were times when we did not. Because if we have a look at when they play it out, bang. So all of a sudden now they have that right-hand side of the pitch that they've opened up. Benji's running across. So it hasn't really worked as well as what we could. Now in this situation, we need to make sure we get this outlet pass. We're getting dangerously close. He's just going to lump it up. Oh no, bang. And then we've won the ball. So if we then go through to another example of things that we probably need to be doing better with respect to our press, this is another example. Now, this is a clearance, I believe. Okay. So when we're pressing, the whole point of this, so they go back to their goalkeeper. Now, in this situation, we don't need to make their goalkeeper. We don't need to make him hurry up. He's all the way back here. What's more important is that we make sure everybody's ready. Now, they've got four players in the middle of the pitch, and we've got no one anywhere near them. Okay, up front, we have, I think that's Mayel, Isaac, and we've got Will over on the other side. So our press is not organised and not in shape. And our midfielders, I think the first of our midfielders is just coming in shot. So what we need to do in this situation is just slow it up. So in this situation, Mayel, just slow it up. And then what you do is Benji's got this guy covered, Isaac's got this guy covered. So we have there two. So Will is in the process of catching up. This is actually his player. So what would be better would be just to wait. Okay, just wait a little bit and get our line sorted. Okay, so wait a little bit, get our line sorted. So we've got one, two, three, four, and then we need to get Riley up to here. And once we've got that, then we've got our five. Okay. So if we're in this situation, so if we can slow the ball down and get to this configuration, that's going to be better because that's going to mean if we look at the players they've got on the pitch, we've got their right back under control over here. We've got this centre back out. We've got this centre back out. We've got this guy, and Riley's going to come up and take this bloke. Obviously, what needs to then happen is the number 8 needs to come up and take this bloke. But what we've done is we're not going to allow them to play through, and then when he tries to kick long, we can cut it out. Okay, so. And he's got a decent kick, and we cut it out. We win it, not as well as what we would have liked. But if we hold up and our line's here, then we're not as spread out. There's too much room and space up the front there. So, similarly, if I now go to 1930, okay, so once again, what needs to be happening here, and it's good that we're harrowing them. Number 10 needs to be here. Right back needs to be there, needs to be stepping up. Riley steps up onto that. And now number 6 steps up into here. Okay, so that's the defensive midfielder. And then what we have is a situation where they can't play around us because at the moment they've got so many options to play out, and we're just cooking Benji. So he can, this bloke, he can go. Oh, come on, give me an arrow, please. Thank you. Can go to here, can very easily go to here, could go all the way back to the goalkeeper, and then they could move it out. But the point of the story is he could even go to there and then he could come back to the middle. Point of the story is we just need to make sure that we get a chance to get ourselves set. So we just need to be smart up the front. We need to make sure that we're operating as a unit. Otherwise, we run the risk of chasing the ball around all day. Um, so there's one more. This is all the way up at 840, 80-40. And this is the same idea. So this is the idea that we have to think of our press as a team because we got away with a lot. Okay, yeah. So this is it here. And we'll go back a little bit further than that. Okay. So we win the ball somewhere here. Luke doing a good job not letting this guy get through us. Tries they did generate a few of these nasty ones. Get someone on there. Riley goes long. Fair enough. Now, this situation, as soon as he goes back to the keeper, hold. Now I don't think this is I think this is Ari. But in any case, you stay on the centre back there. Will, you need to probably realise that in this instance, you probably need to come in onto this chap. And I can't see the rest of the blokes in the shot, but what we need to be doing is slowing the ball down because what needs to happen here is Will needs to be coming in. So we've got here, so we're man on that defender. Will's going to be the closest. So you will are going to need to communicate to your teammates what you're doing, but you need to come in and do the number 10's job. And then the number 10 probably needs to slide over and take your player because what you can see happens, we've just made it too easy for them to play around us. Now this keeper, he's probably not making that pass if Will's made the run. So if Will's steaming in on this guy and he's about here, he's probably not taking on that pass because if he turns it over in the middle of the pitch, we're in, okay? But then he gets time to turn and then they're driving their back into it. So the better, and you can see Mayel arriving. So the better option there would have been for Will to go to this guy, Mayel to come across to here. And then we can get our shape. And then we're not playing basketball so much as playing football. So now we're going to go through and we're going to talk about a couple of examples where the press was really, really good. So we'll go to 1733 because there were plenty of times when the press worked out really well. I prefer to do the negatives before I do the positives. So Benji's all over this guy. Now, note it's not. It's kind of not well. It's actually we're man for man across the top, which is exactly what we were wanting. Their centre back is still spread, but Benji's managed to force him wide. And by doing that, what Benji's effectively created is the 3v3 that we want. Isaac, in a perfect world, Isaac moves into this space to make them think twice about trying to cut back and go back the other way. Because when you put defenders under pressure, and I don't care what anyone says, more often than not in this comp, players who are defenders are there probably there because they're not as good on the ball, unless you get to the better teams. So he's down there, and then he goes, and now, so he passes. This is a contested ball, okay, and it's a contested ball because we're 1-on-1 all the way through there. Will wins it, wham, dribbles away. And now things are a bit different. This is what we talk about. We talk about press wins. This guy's tracking back. He's got his roll skates on. The centre back's really out of position. This centre back's coming across for cover. You can already see the goalkeeper's movement is backwards. So he's moving back because he's suddenly worried about his goals. This guy's coming in. This guy's coming in. This guy's going to be tracking across. This guy's going to go to the ball. And we have got players in space. So we've got Will, Mayel, Benji. and Isaac over on the far side. And if we watch it break, really good by Will to find Mayel. Mayel plays Will through. Now we've got little players in the box and we've got recovering defenders. Suddenly, this is looking really strong. So we've got Riley here in support. We've got Mayel in support. We've got Will on the ball, Benji and Isaac over on the other side. And if I'm completely honest, I don't fully comprehend how we didn't score off this little section of play. So we're man for man and we've got a free man Riley tracking across. So 1-1-1. So we're 1 for 1 across. And if you're 1 for 1 in an attacking context, you're thinking things are in your favour. Now gets cut out, okay, but there's plenty of opportunity there, and that's all come from a really good press win. Okay, and that was a three press, not a man for man four press up across the top. Um, we'll then go back to 21-30. Okay, so yeah, what we needed. Look, this is not exactly what we were hoping for because their centre backs have done what we expected them to do. They're split. The defensive midfielder's here, and this guy's there, of course. Um, okay, so there's what we're not doing here is the tens. The ten's supposed to be here so that he can block the ball out to there. And then that would bring the eight here, and the six has to step up to here. So if we're fully committing to this press. Um, in any case, the good thing is because we were still harrowing them with our press, now may El goes over to get involved. And now we're starting to squeeze. Okay. So we've got the squeeze on. You can see Griggsy stepped up to take this guy, and Riley's occupying this space. Now he's going to want to try to track back. That's what they've been trained to do. It's very difficult to not do what you're trained to do when you're drilled into doing this. So what he's going to want to do is try to swap sides. And you got the six here, but Mael's cutting him out. Okay. So Benji basically has the capacity to cut out all of this space. All right. And honestly, we haven't even executed our press as well as what we could. So he kicks it back to the goalkeeper. Now we've got our press on, okay? Because everybody's up. The ball's at the goalkeeper's feet. And he kicks over. Miscontrol. And now our biggest issue is being onside. Well, in actual fact, yeah, that's not ideal. We were onside if you look at the radar up the top. So all we needed was a ball over the top to Benji, and then we're through. So that's a really good example of the pressure that you put the opposition on when you do apply the press. And like I said at half time, you don't actually need to you don't actually need to execute a perfect press in order to create to generate an error from the attacker because they're used to generally having teams give them the ball or press one between two, not press with real conviction. So consequently, if you press with real conviction, you really give them a lot of grief. Now, in this situation, this is another example of the press. Okay, so what's happened here? Will has put, and as soon as he reads the ball going the other way, he makes the adjustment, and now comes over to press the goalkeeper. Now the good thing is that what we haven't done is overcommitted. We forced them out, and now we force them back. Now, Will, you got to get there. Because remember, this is getting into that zone where they can bomb it through, and that's traditionally given us some dramas. We've got Lions coming up on the weekend, and they're a handful if you allow them to bomb through because they've got a lot of speed and technical ability up front. Okay, so that probably really wasn't the best example of what I was hoping to illustrate, but anyway. 3907. So 3907, this is a good example. When I picked this out, I thought, that's a really good example of how the setup doesn't allow them to stretch us. So they've stretched us a little bit on that. Okay, so basically what we have here, a little bit more. So they can't stretch us. They're trying to, but because we've got this up front, okay, and we're still pressing with the three because Benji's up there and Will was on the right-hand side at this point in time. So what we've done is we've done a good enough job of not allowing them to press us, not allowing them to get out of their own fight, their own defensive third, which is really important. That's their defensive third. So it goes over. Now that's a really crap ball, and it's on. Okay, that's a mistake. That's what we're looking for. He just midfield bombs it to absolutely anybody. Griggsy, unfortunately, Griggsy was pretty legless by this point in time, so he was unable to really win it. Okay, so uh, we've now got 61-23, which is the last of the examples on the press that we're going to go through. 61-23. Now, Now, this is one of the best examples of our hard press at the end of the first half. We really grew into it. I can't hear on-field calls, obviously, from the sidelines. I don't know whether it was just a plan that we were going to start with the three or whether we were just getting our heads around it. But we're player for player across all of this. Okay, this is what they've got, and that's five. That's nine. That's just nine of their players. They've only got what one player that we can't see. Two, four, six, eight, nine. Yeah, so there's two players we can't see. So it's pretty handy. But you can see we've got them boxed in. We've got both central defenders covered. There's Mayel up there. Look, we've got him covered, him covered, him covered. Luke's probably needing to step into the middle here because he's effectively got two, but that's all fine. And we've got two, and we've got our two centre backs up the front. When we press like this, we're always going to concede an overload in the middle of the pitch. So what's really important is that we don't allow an easy ball into the middle of the pitch. We make them hit a contested ball into the middle of the pitch. And worst comes to worst, we can always foul. So we'll watch how this unfolds. He goes, okay, plays it to this guy. Mayel engages, and he just goes, you know what? This has just got to be route one, old English style. Notice, because we're putting the pressure on, he doesn't want to take, like, he doesn't even want to try to take a pass into the middle of the pitch here for one of his midfielders to come and collect. So he doesn't even want to take one of these passes because he's that flustered and concerned about making a mistake that he just decides, you know what, we're just going to have to go route one, old English style. So that's what he does. Bang, pumps it up. It's like we're playing bloody Scottish Premier League. So that concludes our press analysis. Okay, so if we revert back to the match analysis that we were talking about before, so can we dominate territory through an aggressive press? What I hope I've done is pointed out some finer points to our press. Those finer points are making sure we man up when the ball has gone long, making sure we don't engage the press until everybody's in position to do so, because otherwise it can make it just too easy for them to play around it. And then in terms of when we do it well, it creates opportunity. It anchors the opposition in their own half. It means that we get transitional moments, both in the opposition's final third, and we also win the ball and create transitional moments as they try to kick out with long clearances. So now there's just a few bits and pieces that I wanted to go through with respect to our build-up. So 1439. I'm just saying that because that's my little reference because I've gone through and watched it. Now, this is a good example of where we create the space. So once again, and you see this all the time. So they have one, two, three, four. They've committed a whole lot of players down this angle of the pitch, and they've actually outnumber us in this situation. Okay, so you can see they've got good numbers around the ball. And what we do is we bring it back. And what this is created by Isaac having the presence of mind to drop in between the lines and receive the ball. And when he does this, it creates an immediate issue for them because they have a whole bunch of players behind the ball and only two players in front of the ball. I got two, four, six players behind the ball. So we cut six players out when we do this. And that allows Isaac to collect, turn, and see what he wants to do. Now, this is important, and this is a great run by Zachy, because Zachy's realised that this is where the space is. And then all we need is for Isaac to just roll the ball. This is an occasion where we don't need ball speed. You just need to roll the ball out in front of him, which is exactly what he does. It's a beautiful pass. Probably the first touch wasn't what he was hoping for. But we're in a situation. In this situation, you just dribble to the byline. Probably rushed it a bit, but nonetheless, we've got players in the box, and we've got into that final third, and we've created a clear goal scoring opportunity. So that's really, really positive play. We go to 17:01. See, these are examples of what happens when we stretch the opposition, okay? So in this situation, there was no way through. They're quite good at this. Many teams will be quite good at this because they work very hard on it in rondos and getting. So they've got four players, five players. They've got someone in the middle of the pitch. Their back line set across the back, okay? And what we do is we identify that there's space. So, and we find that space, okay, by going to the goalkeeper. So now, Mick, go earlier, Mick. So the ball here, Mick, is to go to Zachy's feet. So the ball here is to do either of two things, either play to Max here or Zach here. Okay, so it's a one or a two, because from there Max can play out, or he could potentially play into the middle and then we could play out. But one or another, we're trying to find the width. Not the best ball. It really needs to be along the ground. Now, puts a lot of pressure on Zachy, but the idea is right. Okay, the idea is right to stretch him. This hasn't worked out, and let's roll it on. Hasn't worked out. We've got loose, scrappy ball. That's fine, but it's on the sideline. It's different if we're going up the middle and we're playing more specky, like speculative, concerning balls. Um, but it's early on in the game, and we're doing all right. I was pretty happy with how things were proceeding at this point in time. Where do we want to go to now? 39:07. Actually, well, there was one more thing I wanted to point out. These are little things that I think we should notice and highlight, if only to ourselves. So this is a substitution that they're making. Okay, you look, the boys coming off. Little high five. Coming off, coming off. Oh no, that wasn't it. It's a little bit further back than that. There we go. Okay. Ball goes out. They're going to do some subs. Now have a look. Okay, he's hauled it up. Coach makes his sub. This guy comes off. Now have a look. Don't want the ref touching me. Don't touch me. Sorry, don't touch me, coach. Comes over, snatches the shirt. So that sort of stuff I think we need to feed off in games. It goes a little bit towards the mongrel, if you like, because that's an example of us frustrating the opposition, and that's spilling out. Because I give you the tip, any of you characters carry on like that with me, you're going to be sitting on that bench for a little bit longer than what you were expecting. So we'll now go forward to 33:44. Okay, so once again, yep, we find Griggsy, move it over to Max. Now Max has got options here. Notice he's got a bunch of this is what we have with Max at the back. Zach's the safe option. Okay, so Zach's the safe option if he wants to play the safe option out for him. Isaac stepped in the middle. Riley's in the middle. Mayal's coming over to the middle. This is a really good passing opportunity, this ball, because we've got numbers here. Even if Riley comes to or Isaac comes to, and one of their defenders bumbles into us and makes it scrappy, we've got numbers around the ball that can recover and carry on with the attack. Okay, so this is a really good passing option. You can see their coach, he can see it. He's waving. Isaac gets the ball. and just dribbles around. We've got the ball. There we go. Patience with the ball. This is really good play. I was really happy with this. Isaac plays it back. Now, we probably could have let that go. I think he was aiming for Griggsy there, but with advancing the ball, we'll get better at playing that through, even better if we call. So if that pass of Isaac, he says Griggsy, then maybe Riley lets it go. Or if Griggsy calls for it and says leave, then, then that's a little bit more stable, isn't it? So we'll now go to 42-17. I'd point out this is 25 minutes in. We'd made a couple of changes. They were going through a period of dominance. You cannot dominate a game of football for the entirety of the game. So there will come times when the opposition is just going to have runs on you, and you just need to accept it, work through it. Okay, once again, good. Bouncing the ball back to players in space. Goes back to Major. Major goes, Major, that sort of get cuts out. In this situation, what I wanted to highlight in here was, can we use the available space rather than go forward with that? Can we just check back, use Max, can use Mick if we want to, and then we can play around, and then we can use Will, who's in all this space over here. Okay? So plenty of good football, plenty of learning still to be done, boys. We're still perfecting our game. I think what we need to think about is we need to make a bit of a, much the same as when we attack in a transitional moment, we need to make a sort of a binary decision. Bang, can we go forward and execute an attacking pass? Is it on? If it's not on, then we just roll it out the back and stretch them. So that draws me to the end of my match review, boys. Fantastic result. I'm just very, very proud, very, very proud of the effort you boys put in. Really happy we got the result. The 3-0, a result like that, that's a really good result. Coomera they are a good side. And I think to go back, as I was saying, to our position on the ladder, being third on this ladder in a very close competition is a significant achievement. Our goal difference is currently 8, which is good. So for a team, we've got, in terms of goals against, we've conceded 19 goals. So we're the equal best defensive team in the competition with Lions. And I would like to think that maybe we can settle that ledger on the weekend. They've scored fractionally more goals than us. I mean, you've got Sanford who's scored a lot of goals. I think that'll slowly start to get reined in. They don't have the striker who they recruited during the off season. And North Lakes, they've obviously got Yellow Boots, whatever his name is. But this is a really good result, particularly when you put it in the context that we're developing our game. Okay, so we're still building our game and getting better and stronger and better and stronger. And if we continue to apply ourselves to that, this competition will be decided by the team that is playing the best football at the end of the season. All right. The team that's playing the best football at the end of the season is going to be the team that's going to go a long way towards winning this competition. Boys, I will hopefully see you at training um, throughout the week. I would also point out Lions' next fixture is currently showing as Redlands, which suggests to me that they've got a midweek fixture, which is good as well. But let's keep working hard. Let's get the best that we can out of this season, and I'll hopefully see you at training this week.